just it just. But what I remember about that time of football, where we were still in the era where you could hit.
Yes.
Like it's not the I don't want to say the sissification of football now.
Yeah.
But you could hit then. Like you could go and just clean somebody. Crack back blocks was in play. You could go and really, and to your point, really take somebody lights out.
Yeah, and too, I mean, I think there's just a different time because of the information of what that cause is out there too. And I try not to have like this old school mind frame where a lot of these guys are like, oh, remember back in the day we had the leather helmets and you know what I mean? Like, so I hate because sometimes I want to tell these older guys, like, dude, your time has passed. Sit your old ass down.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just let these young guys doing it. So I don't necessarily think like they're soft. I just think they're playing according to the rules. And the rules make these guys soft. Like you can't do we can never play in this era,
right?
Because we would think too much. We're not playing fast. That was the biggest thing about what we did. We played fast, and to look at what's going on right now, you'll constantly have to think if you're doing the right thing or not. I made a joke the other day. I said if I played now, I'd be playing for free. I would just go and turn my checks right on upstairs, have my game check. You know what I mean? Because we know it's coming,
right?
And so. But yeah, what's crazy about that game? I think my freshman year when we played you guys down there, my freshman year at Maryland, I had like 2 or 3 sacks off the bench, right? And I actually started my first game.
Darren Durant was the quarterback.
My only game started, and I did that because Pep. I was a big fan of Julius Peppers. Yep. That was my. When I looked at him, man, I was like, that's who I wanted to play like. Right. And so I got a chance to get on the field. I'm like, I'm gonna show Pep. You know what I mean? And I think for me, man, just coming into that time, it was, and I never started again after that. I had 3 because they made sure they know my ass was leaving school. And I was like, they said, hey, if he getting 3 sacks off the bench like this, he get back in, he's gone. Which I ended up leaving anyway. Yeah. But yeah.
So just staying in the college world right now, just how the landscape of college football has changed, right? Yeah. Like, I grew up, you grew up in an era, and I'm not saying this happened without me for UNC, but there was more $100 handshakes.
Yeah.
Right? You had those type of things. Like, hey, come down here and say that you washed cars for the last 8 hours, but you just really came in the back, had lunch, and we going to make sure you good.
We call that the indefinite timestamp.
Yes, absolutely. But where NIL has taken college football now, we wanted it at that point in time back in the day. Like, man, we're doing so much for these programs. And, I look up, I'm on billboards. I know the number 9 is in stores. And I'm like, that ain't because of nobody else. That's because of me. But I ain't getting no residuals from that. To where the college game has come now, have they come a little bit too far? Or like, what is your outlook on the way college football and the financial part of it is being handled now?
I think it's a little bit of the Wild Wild West right now. Like, it's gotten too out of hand. And I think at some point in time, they're going to have to taper it back and kind of just conform it a lot more. And you got to look at the NCAA. It's really their doing of why it is like it is. Because I said this, if they were a little less stingy and selfish 10 years ago, like, you got to, like, the time if somebody paid us $2,500 a month, $2,000 a month, we would have lost our damn mind. Right, and so
I mean, when the Pell Grants hit, you tore them all down.
Yeah,
with that little bit of money that you had right there. So
that was a couple grand, right? Yeah. And so my thing is, if you gave every player, $2,000, $2,500 a month, if you did that 10 years ago, NIL wouldn't exist, right? And then let the bigger name guys who are good enough or big enough name to go sign and do autograph signings and appearances. No, NIL wouldn't exist. But it was the fact that you're saying, hey, we're going to make all this money and give you nothing is why they can't control it anymore. And so I just never understood the rationale behind that, because I always said the guy should be making money. Yeah. And, you're not going to have offensive lineman making the same amount as your star wide receiver. But let me tell you, if that offensive lineman can get him, $2,000 a month and just on a consistent or $2,500 a month, that's like hitting gold for him. Sure. You're already, if your housing is taken care of, and now that $2,500 a month, you can live on that. These guys, matter of fact, on that, you'll have guys staying all 4 years. When you think about just off of making $30,000 a year, that's what I'm saying. And so I think it got to the point now where the NCAA, they can't control it, and these guys it's a pay for play. And I think ultimately, if they don't control it, it could ruin college football in the long term. Because you got these, transfer portals, and people don't talk about this stuff with the transfer portal. A lot of these guys don't even get picked up.
Right.
So where are you going? right? What are you so in the rush to get out of there to? And I was a guy that I sat on the bench for 2 years. Now I had 8-9 sacks off the bench,
right?
But again, I sat and waited for my turn. But when I got up there, I did my thing and I left early. And these guys, they come into practice one day and the coach talked to them a way they don't like. I'm out. And so it doesn't help the player. It doesn't help the school. It doesn't help your team. And I think ultimately a lot of these young guys going to look back 10, 15 years from now and say, man, why did I do that? We're dumb. And they just made it too easy where you don't have to work.
Yeah.
You don't have to put in the work. If you don't like the situation you in and you get up and you roll out of bed, it's a bad Tuesday for you, you can go right to the office, fill out some paperwork, and you can be out.
Yeah.
And we all had them times in college, man, them winter workouts, and where you're just like, man, I don't even want to do this no more. Right. Why am I doing this?
Did you ever have a moment in college where the coach had to call your mom?
Oh, man, which day? I mean, which week?
No, I had one of them where, coach want to see you go upstairs, and he's like, your grandmother's on the phone.
Yep.
And I'm like, hello? She's like, have me come up there and tell you. I'm like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But those days are done.
Yeah, it's done, man. I think that also too, and I don't know what your situation was. Like we don't come from anything, right? We don't come from nothing. So for us, we don't even have the literacy to make those decisions at the time, especially when you come to financial stuff. So you got people, and I don't know about you, but I definitely had people around me, and family included, that was making a decision for me because of financial benefit, right? And so you got these schools or these parents, some of them, or the adult, whoever the adult, consenting adult is in their life, making a decision for a 17-year-old that don't know what they're doing yet.
Right.
That part I have the biggest problem with, because these kids, they're still kids. You haven't paid any bills yet. You never paid taxes. You don't know any of this stuff, but yet somebody's making a decision for them.
Right.
And that's happening far too often.
No, I'm with you 100%, man. I think calling it the Wild Wild West is so fitting, because everybody is doing anything and everything, and no one's sitting when they transfer. Just 2 transfer portal windows that open up, and you can move about however you want. There aren't any regulations anymore, because there were a time where if you transferred, especially to another D1 school, you had to sit out a year. Right. Now it's the way I can go here. I mean, you got cats that are graduating and they've been to 4 or 5 universities.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And their time in college. So I love college football. Of course, like yours, it changed my life. But to watch the state that it is in now is it's disappointing.
Yeah,
it's disappointing. And I'm a player. I always want players to get paid.
100%. Yeah.
But I'm on the same wavelength as you. Is that the NCAA, the greed for so many years and for so long? This is the result of that. Is when you could have opened up that opportunity for players, like you said, $2,500, $5,000 a month. To me at that time, I'm at the train table. I get 3 meals a day there. My housing is taken care of.
Right.
If I just had $5,000 a month, $4,000 a month that I just got, I would have been. Life would have been great.
Would have been great.
I could have sent a little bit back home.
And that to me is probably the biggest part, right? Because that's I don't know what your circumstance was, but the reason why I left was I wanted to take care of my family.
Absolutely.
And left early because I want to take care of my family. So if you're getting $4,000 or $5,000 a month, you're able to send $1,000 back a month, or $1,500 is taking care of bills. They make sure your folks got food and they're taken care of. Like that eases the pain. Then you're not even thinking about the NFL, jumping in the NFL for reasons if some of these guys aren't ready and they're going anyway. Like I think the quarterback that was at Texas, right, and then bounced around. I think he's going to declare for the NFL draft, and I think he turned down like $5 or $6 million somewhere, And so you got all this stuff happening, man. And it's a pay for play, and some of these guys aren't worthy of that just yet because they haven't done anything just yet.
Absolutely. So.